I'm Donna Lynne Champlin, and you're listening to You Might Know Her From with Anne and Damien.
Folks, when I tell you the body talk, it's all under the surface right now. Did I just cry in Anne's face? Maybe, but do I feel better now? And then I got on the chirp wheel and cracked my lower back. I feel so good. Welcome back to another episode of You Might Know Her From.
With Anne and Damien.
It is me, Damien. This is Anne. This is our show that we do. Longtime friends, collaborators, fellow...
His body has released. And so I think he's in like a flow state right now. But sometimes it doesn't always translate to the brain. Do you know what I mean? But your body is relaxing and that's good.
Yeah, my nervous system is calming. This is our show where we, longtime friends and collaborators, we come and we talk about what we're into pop culture wise, how our bodies are aging. As I'm telling you this, my body, it feels old. And of course, we interview an actor each and every episode. And we're so happy that you have found us if you're new to the show. And if you're not new to the show, well then, thanks for coming back. And so what I'm about to tell you is like months old, but I just want to know if I don't think that we've talked about it. And if we have not talked about it on the record. It feels important. So, okay. First of all, I know how like anti-AI you are. And I want to be clear that I'm not pro AI, but we've ongoing conversations about this. And I'd say a few months ago now, there was like a news item that Suzanne Somers' widow had created like an AI version of her. And I was like, whoa. And I like, we talked about it. And now, so I was like, oh, he's like dating a robot, like a sex doll robot of Suzanne Somers, which is so unsettling. But now the newest piece of information is that he is also in a relationship with former guest of this show, Joanna Cassidy. And I don't know if you knew this. I think you did, but we certainly haven't talked about it on the record. And Joanna, if you're listening, we're so grateful you were a guest on this show, but we need to address it. This is hot news 6 months later.
Totally. Oh, I completely forgot. And you know, I think we know this, right? Because Joanna is active online, which I love. She's iconic in so many things, and I love her. And she's kind of like a wild woman, and I really like that about her. Mm-hmm. I feel like if she and Suzanne Somers both saw something in this man whose name I can't remember, but whose face is very clear in my mind, there must be something good about him. You know, I'm going to die on the hill shouting and shaking my fist at the sky.
Hamel, just wanted to say Alan Hamel.
Alan Hamel. Any relation to Mark Hamill? Is it spelled the same? Hamill?
It is not spelled the same and no relation.
Okay.
Who was that? What was that from? No relation. Babs and Buster Bunny.
Is it a Tiny Toons moment?
Yes. No relation.
Because they're lovers.
Because their name is their last name is Bunny.
Right. But that's a cute bit. But like I think they're setting that up so like if they ever kiss or hold hands, we're not disturbed.
Oh, interesting. Well, they're just both like they're not brother and sister. But
I loved Tiny Toons.
Babs Bunny is one of maybe the best female cartoons ever. Sorry to do Joanna Cassidy. I just had to get this bit in.
No, that's fair.
You were gonna say that
I think there must be something good about Mr. Hamel if both of these women chose him. I think Suzanne Somers is just, I'm devastated that we never got a chance to talk to her. I felt like we would have had such a great conversation with her. You know, she and Alan, one of my favorite things, because she was a frequent guest on the Today Show when it was the 4th Hour with Hoda and Kathy Lee. I feel like she probably was friends with Kathy.
Totally.
But she kind of is a Kathy Lee Gifford type in that she was like, okay, making fun of herself, which I found very charming because she simultaneously seemed very serious about like her like music career and her workout videos and the Thigh Master, but then also could take the piss out of herself. And I was always very charmed by that. But she sent a Christmas card with Alan in the last 3 to 5 years, you know, recent history, that was them nude, like hiding in a field with their nethers not exposed, but like covered by grass. And this was like their holiday card to their friends and family.
They
and
were like hippies.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. There's something. I feel like it's a California type that's not exactly hippie. It's something else. It's like Hollywood hippie, which is its own thing. But, you know, if we were to have Joanna Cassidy back on the show, I'd love to talk to her about this relationship and how she feels about AI-Suzanne Somers. And is she a part of their dynamic at all, or is it completely separate? Now, I'm going to die on the hill about AI being the worst thing that's ever happened to us and it being in the hands of evil fascists. But apparently you told me Suzanne signed off on this.
That was what People magazine reported.
Nothing but facts here. We back up everything we say. You know that we don't. But, you know, I love folks finding love at any age. And I'm going to say I'm happy for them on the record.
So happy for them. So happy for them and so happy to be here with you. We're so excited for this week's episode. So should we get into it?
Let's get into it. First of all, I think this person is such a true multi-hyphenate talent. So funny, so smart, such a musical powerhouse, but also just really funny and smart and real. And as we've said before on the show, it's such a pleasure when we get to talk to somebody who is so good at their craft, but also is able to talk about it in a fun and easy breezy way. And I think that's exactly where we get with Miss Donna Lynne Champlin, who we interview this week. And we really hope that you dive in.
You might know her from Crazy Ex-Girlfriend,
The Perfect Couple,
The First Lady,
Birdman,
and Broadway productions of Hollywood Arms by Jeeves and Sweeney Todd. Actually, let me preface this. I could have communicated this off the record, but I did just have some dental work done this morning, Donna Lynne. And so I feel like I'm extra gay or have Bell's palsy. So I feel like I should let the listeners know in case it sounds weird. I want the listener to know that that's what we were going through today when you were
so it's
with
not
us.
like a lower facelift. It's just dentist.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
So what we're telling people, I had some dental work. Cool. You look fabulous.
Thank you so much. But it is really a joy to be here with actor, singer, dancer, Donna Lynne Champlin. Donna Lynne, thank you so much for being on You Might Know Her From.
Oh, my pleasure. I'm very excited.
Our listeners will, of course, know you for your portrayal of Paula Proctor on Rachel Bloom's musical comedy series, Crazy Ex-Girlfriend. Paula is Rachel Bloom's Rebecca's new best friend in the new town, who I would argue often encourages Rebecca's bad decision making, at least initially. I'd argue that your character sort of encourages her to be a crazy ex-girlfriend at times. But you're such a breakout star on the show. How easy was it for you to find the tone of that show and also, I guess, justify some of that bad behavior, quote unquote?
That is such a great question. First of all, codependency all the way. But also, it's really funny because the first season up to episode 8, I want to say, we kind of shot in a vacuum. And none of us really knew. I found, because I'm from the theater, so I was constantly going, what are the rules of this world? What are the rules of this play? What are the rules when we break into song? Wait, because I was the first one who wasn't Rebecca, who burst into song, but I didn't change costume. And I was like, okay, so when you're not Rebecca, you sing, but it's in her mind, but she doesn't put you in a costume. We had all these questions and everyone was kind of like, we don't know. And then I remember this because I was taping Status is Preferred, and I was a little annoyed that I was the one working when our show premiered. And I remember this because I was like, God damn it. And there was Rachel had a party at her house and I'm at the studio and because I wanted to be a part of it. But it was fascinating because once the show aired and the fans and the critics started sort of reaffirming things that they liked about the show, maybe stuff that they found confusing, our writer's room really took that to heart. And you'll see if you watch season 1 again, right around episode 8 or 9, it kind of goes vroom, and everything becomes a little more clear. And that was because we were using the critics and the fans of what they were telling us that they liked about it, or that they thought was really cool, or that they found confusing. And so the fans and the critics are really sort of partly responsible for the tone of the show.
That's kind of cool. They helped, the viewers, us, we got to help world build by being what's the justification for this or whatnot.
It was marvelous. And for me, coming from the theater, the play is done. You may change the play or work on it, make a few changes here, but television is such an organic, living thing that I never kind of expected. And it was just so wonderful to see the writer's room kind of react, and then react to who we were as people. Everybody's characters kind of went through, a journey. And a lot of that had to do with who we were as people. But as far as like Paula, there was a point where in season 1, I went to Aline Brosh McKenna, who's a co-creator, co-writer, and she's sort of Paula to Rachel Bloom. She's Rachel Bloom's Paula. She's an older, middle-aged woman. And so I would go to Aline whenever I had a question. And I'd be like, and I remember about halfway through the season, I was like, okay, is Paula certifiable? I feel like she is veering into like committed, like put her in a rubber room area. Is that what we're doing? Because my understanding was that she was just kind of out there, but she wasn't like certifiably insane. And she was like, okay, let me tell you what happened. I was like, I said, there's a story? Fantastic. She said, okay, so we're writing this new show, this new idea, and we're trying to break the glass ceiling on women being anti-heroes. Like you've got Breaking Bad, you've got all these men who are allowed to be anti-heroes, protagonists, but flawed. And they were like, we really, really, really want to make Rebecca Bunch a flawed protagonist anti-hero, but we are getting a lot of pushback from the brass at CW and CBS because they are very uncomfortable with a woman being unattractive, unappealing. They want their lead. And she said, the notes keep coming down. You got to protect your lead, protect your lead. So she's like, all the crazy shit that you've been getting was written for Rebecca.
Interesting.
And to appease the brass, we have been giving those storylines to Paula because, no offense, you're not our lead. And so they don't feel the need to protect you. So you're getting sort of all the trauma dump of Rebecca. And I was like, okay. Still doesn't answer my question. I feel like she's certified. Like, how do you want me to play her?
Yeah.
And they were like, as appealing as possible.
So helpful.
And so I was like, okay, well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to come from a place of pure love, maternal, friendship, woman to woman, feminist, whatever. That is the only way I can pull this off without making her look like she needs to be, go to our wing. And they were like, great. And then season 2, CW and CBS started to see what we were doing, and they were seeing that the critics and the fans were receptive to Rebecca being flawed. And so then you see in season 2, Rebecca starts to go down the rabbit hole, which of course dramaturgically makes all the rest of us have to straighten up a little bit to hold the story together. But we went through many, many journeys in season 1, and a big part of it was the brass was afraid.
So fascinating.
Classically executive behavior.
Totally.
And no offense, I don't want to say chauvinist, but definitely not equal opportunity anti-hero. Like they had no problem with their male leads being flawed.
Right.
They
it's
just
like
had no problem with it
badass
whatsoever.
when a man is crazy, but it's like crazy when a woman is crazy,
It's a woman always has to be appealing in some way.
Yeah.
And I said, there's nobody more appealing and likable than Rachel Bloom. What are they worried about? She's going to pull this shit off.
Yeah.
You don't need me.
The show is so fun and wonderful and I don't know, kind of groundbreaking because there hasn't really been anything like it in a long time. I mean, I don't know if we're going to argue that Cop Rock, it was amazing, but it hadn't been on for a long time. And you get so many great like original songs, the beautiful, heartbreaking, like Maybe This Dream, where you really get to show off like a legit mezzo soprano, but then you conversely get like your big belchy like Rose's turn of After Everything I've Done for You that I didn't ask for you. And then my personal favorite is First Penis I Saw, which the internet argues is like a Sondheim Follies-esque ballad, but I feel like is very. I feel like it's like
Mamma Mia.
I feel like it's Mamma Mia. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
What was your favorite song to sing on this show, if you have one, and like why?
Oh man.
I know there's so many.
Oh, that music department was so good to me. My favorite one to perform live is Face Your Fears. For sure.
It's a great one.
That's my wheelhouse, vocal range, humor. But I have to say the most special song was maybe This Dream. And it's, again, more how it came out, how it was created. At the beginning of each season, the writers would send an email to all the series regulars and say, just remind us of vocal genres you can nail, impressions that you do, special weird talents that you have. Every year they would send us the email and be like, just remind us. And I said to them, no one knows that I'm a coloratura soprano because I look like this.
Mm-hmm.
And women who look like this belt. And so I had to let Billy Porter, actually, of all people, taught me how to belt at Carnegie Mellon. And he pulled me aside and he was like, girl.
That's so great.
You need to learn how to belt. You look like a belter. He was like, either you lose like 50 pounds or you learn how to belt. And I was like, I'll learn how to belt, please.
Oh my God.
That sounds really hard.
Yeah.
So I said, I'm known as a belter, but I'm actually a coloratura soprano. And I think it would be hilarious. The idea that I pitched was I think Paula gets really mad at somebody and she just like Wagner eviscerates someone in a huge operetta with the horns and the breastplate. That to me seemed like Paula.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's how I thought I could get away with it. And a random conversation that I had with Aline like over lunch, we were talking about Disney. And I said, it's really funny. The Sleeping Beauty cartoon, I don't know what it is about it, but I remember like in college, I would go down in the library and whenever I was really stressed, I would just watch the Sleeping Beauty cartoon. There's something so soothing to me about it. I don't even think it's their best cartoon. I just love it.
Yeah.
And she tucked that away. It was so offhand. And next thing I know, my Wagner horns and breastplate soprano pitch turns into the Sleeping Beauty princess from this thing that I had told Aline that I loved. And we recorded it at Columbia with a full orchestra.
Oh
Cool.
I mean, and then like, I never get to be the pretty princess, like fucking ever, ever.
Yeah, it was very cool.
And I mean, that costume was made for me. I got hair extensions. The set was actual. All those plants are real.
Cool.
That's not plastic. And I feel like that was such a personal gift to me from the writer's room, from the music department. And it was so, like, I just couldn't, I had to keep from crying every step, recording it with the orchestra. I was like, okay, I need a minute. Hold on. Just a second. The costume fitting. Oh my God. Like every step I wept. It's so funny because that was, my first major TV show. I'd done like the occasional two-liner, do you want milk in your coffee?
Yeah.
Bits. So I'd never really been on a television set for longer than a day. And the crew kept saying to me in particular, it's not like this. Just know, because this is your first and perhaps only, but it is not like this. So please take a moment and really appreciate it because you're going to move on to another show and you're going to think it's like this. And it's just not. And they were like, this set is happy. This set is funny. The days are reasonable. Everyone comes prepared. Do you know what I mean? Like everyone knew how to do their job.
Yeah.
And then we did it. And then we went home.
Right. It's kind of beautiful.
Or out together.
Right? Yeah.
Because we loved each other. It was like theater camp with a budget.
So Donna Lynne, in 2006, this was something that we had found we were excited to find online. This was, you wrote and starred in your one-woman show, Finishing the Hat.
Yes.
Some of this is available online, which is such a treat. You tell personal stories, including one where you quote unquote stalked Brian Darcy James, Broadway legend. And then he eventually asked you out, I think via answering machine. We won't reveal, the end of the story, but the whole thing to me felt very Crazy Ex-Girlfriend coded. Do you think that experience helped you land the role of Paula? And B, did you share that with the writer's room?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
I feel like Paula is me before I had therapy.
That's fair. That's fair.
I've had extensive therapy.
Yeah.
I'm intimately know the codependents. Like she really is me before I had therapy. So I know Paula intimately. So before I had therapy, I did stalk Brian Darcy James. He's such a gentleman, which
Yeah.
is another reason why I stalked him in the first place. You know, he auditioned for Greg.
Oh, that makes
Cool.
total sense. That makes
Yes.
sense.
So, in fact, that was one of the awkward moments that I saw him. He was coming out and I was going in. I was like, oh, hey, Brian. He's like, oh. Hey, Donna Lynne. As he's like, you know, trying to get away from me. Understandable.
Right.
I don't blame him at all. I stalked him. So I knew that they knew who he was. I knew they were familiar with him. And so when it came time to do Jeff in season 3, first penis I saw, I begged them. I was like, you must hire Brian Darcy James for Jeff. One, to clear my karma. Right? Please help me clear my karma. I stalked that man for a good year and a half. You know, this would be a nice sorry gift.
Right.
But also he would play my love interest, so there's that.
It works both ways.
I'm still crazy. And they were like, I think I just got to them like a day late because Aline called a friend of hers. And I was like, oh, okay. But like I went to the writer's room because, you know, I get the storylines much further down than they do, obviously, because they're writing it. So by the time it gets to me, a lot of it's done. Like a lot of it's cast, a lot of it's done. And so like, I think I got the script and I ran to the writer's room and I was like, oh my God, please tell me you haven't cast Jeff. You've got to get Brian Darcy James. It will be so funny on so many levels. You have no idea. The theater community is going to crap themselves. And she was like, oh, my God, we just put out an offer. But if he doesn't take it or he's not available, we'll call Brian. I was like, okay, yay. And then it didn't work out. But, they know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was full out with that.
You're such, as evident just in this interview, you're such a great storyteller. You're so funny. Do you think that there is another like one woman show in your future? And just a caveat before you answer that part, like if so, please include The Air is Free in your set list. We just discovered this song from the 2001 musical Trilogy 3. I think it was directed by Hal Prince. And we like are obsessed with this song and your performance of it. There's a really great bootleg, of it on YouTube. And
I've seen it.
Yeah, and you're so excellent. And the song is so excellent.
Well, the show that I did was called Finishing the Hat. And basically there's this theater called Ars Nova. Yeah. And they just invite people and they're like, do you want to come do a show? And I was in the middle of doing Sweeney Todd on Broadway. And so I was out to lunch with my friend, Emily Skinner. And I was like, I'm so tired. I'm so beat. My body's wrecked. You know, what do I do? And she was like, tell all those stories that you tell. I'm one of those. They're like, tell at a party. Yeah. Donna Lynne, tell this story about how you stalked Brian Darcy James. You know what I mean? Like I'm the Irish storyteller. So she was like, tell your stories. And I was like, yeah, but I got to sing too. And I was like, I don't know. What do I do? Just like pull shit out of a hat? And she said, you call it Finishing the Hat. And I was like, title's been taken. She was like, you see Steve every night. Ask him if you can use Finishing the Hat. Like he was at the theater. Yeah. And she was like, just ask him. I'm sure he won't care. And so Steve came by and I was like, hey man, quick question. And he was like, oh yeah, sure, go ahead. So that's how it happened. Since then, that story frame of pulling things out of a hat has been borrowed by some really big leading ladies in the business, to which I say mazel tov, good luck. But it is such a hard show to do because my husband was like, leave it to you to like create a show that no one else can do. Like you can't sell it. You can't license it. You can't be like, here, do my show. He was like, good job. You prepare like 3 times as much material as you're going to use because you need, more stuff in the hat than people are going to pick. So I might not do a show like that because I'm old now and I have a kid and my brain is like half of what it used to be. But yeah, I think I would do a show. And then what was the second part of your question?
Well, it was just really a tangent for us to tell you how much we loved the song The Air is Free. And we want that to be in your set list.
You know what? If I could still sing
it. You got it.
It's funny because that was 3. We wanted it to come in to Broadway. It was 3 one-acts. We had done it at the Prince Theater. Huge hit. We did it at the Amundsen. Huge hit. And it was 3 separate one-acts. One was directed by Hal Prince. One was directed by Brad Rouse. The other one was directed by, I want to say, Scott Schwartz, Steve's son. And we wanted to bring it in. And the problem is we couldn't afford it because each union, directors union, choreographers union, writers union, they didn't want to take a third, right? Because it was 3 1-acts and they all wanted a full fee. So it was 3 times as expensive from all those different unions and we couldn't do it. So then Hal took the 1-act of Flight of the Lawn Chair Man, which is where the air is free from, because that was, I don't know if it was the most successful. It was the most commercial for sure. And he had the writers write a pre-act. And so that became a proper 2-act musical. And we tried to bring that in, but it just didn't happen for various reasons. And then I did Hollywood Arms with Hal, which was the play written by Carol Burnett and her daughter Carrie, based on Carol's book One More Time. And I had this huge, like 7-page monologue, which was Carol famously, she was an usherette at a movie theater, and the movie broke down and everyone's all pissed and throwing stuff at the screen. And the head usher went up to her and said, "You're loud, go up there and do something." And she went up and she acted out the rest of the movie that had stopped. And so that was my monologue. And so I had to do this whole thing. And I went up to Hal and he said, "All right, kid, so you're off for a couple days. I want you to go. I want you to do this monologue. And then I want you to come back." 7 pages. I was like, "That's it? Like, that's it?" Like, and he kind of rolled his eyes and he was like, "I don't know. Ziegfeld has a business card. What do you want from me?" So then I brought it in and I did it. And he was like, "Great." Then I went up to Carol and she said, and I said, "What do you think?" And she said, "Oh, I liked it very much. I think you could put a little bit more in there." And I was like, "How much more?" She said, "How about this? Every time you do it, add one more thing and I'll tell you when you're done." And I was like, "Cool." And every time in rehearsal, she never said anything. And I was like, "Oh, she's forgotten. I'm like a crazy 3-ring circus up here now." Second preview, she goes up to me. She's like, on my dressing room door, she was like, "Honey, you're done." I was like, "Wait, am I fired or am I just not putting any more in the monologue?" She was like, "Yeah, no, you're done, honey. That's good. Don't just leave it there now. Don't touch a thing."
That's
like, okay.
amazing.
Thank you for giving us the segue that we were going to anyway. So I'm so excited to hear the behind the scenes stuff about Hollywood Arms. You got to work with, as you said, Hal Prince, Carol Burnett, Linda Lavin, Michelle Pock. I mean, the cast was outrageous. Was it intimidating walking in there? It sounds like you had a good shorthand with all of them. Did they make you feel right at home right away? I mean, that seems like a really stacked room.
Yeah, no, everyone really did make me, I think because we were all intimidated by Carol, right?
Yeah.
So we were all sort of united in our awestruckness of Carol. But I had an advantage because I had been cast early. Well, here's part of the story is it was final callbacks, right? Carrie Hamilton obviously was very, very ill. She wasn't there. She was in a hospital. She had cancer, but they were videotaping everything so that they could show her and she could be a part of the casting process. And final callback, there was 2 entire families sitting outside the room. There was one family that looked exactly like Carol. Like I saw the other Carol and she was the spitting image of Carol Burnett. And I thought, well, that was fun while it lasted.
Yeah.
And, and on my side was like, that was the red Irish family.
Right.
On my side was the black Irish family. Me, Michelle Pock, dark hair. Linda, dark hair. Frank, dark hair. We all had kind of dark hair on our side. And we were joking. I mean, it was ridiculous. We were just all sitting there looking at this like identical family and all of us were cracking jokes like, well, this will be quick.
Right.
And so we kind of bonded, we trauma bonded at the callback because none of us thought we were going to get cast.
Right.
And then we ended up getting cast for whatever reason. I think Carol said, she really didn't want to be looking at herself. So she hired us because we didn't look like her. I was like, whatever, man. I'm just happy to have the job. But then everyone was really, and then I had a younger version of me. So I spent a lot of time that I was brought into the auditions for the younger version of Carol in the first act. And I was there. I was the reader. So they could constantly look at me and look at the girls. coming in. So I spent days in an audition room with Carol, and I really got to know her. I also was the same age as Carrie, and, Carrie was ill, and so Carol had a lot of feelings, a lot of maternal feelings at that time, which I kind of felt, I was a bit of a surrogate, which I was happy to be.
Yeah.
So I actually came into the rehearsal room having already pretty much bonded with Carol, who just is, as kind as you think she is.
Okay, Donna Lynne, we're changing gears here a little bit to, you play Detective Nikki Henry in the Netflix miniseries. I heard you describe it as popcorn and a glass of wine, which I was really into.
Yeah.
The perfect couple on Netflix, opposite this family, this like wealthy, affluent family portrayed by Nicole Kidman, Liev Schreiber, Dakota Fanning, and you and Michael Beach are the detectives. Like, was that set like intimidating at all, coming in with like movie stars playing these principal roles that then you're like interrogating?
It's funny because first of all, as the legit non-star on that roster, I was totally mentally and emotionally prepared to not get treated like shit. But do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I was so prepared to be like the black sheep of the whatever, to not get invited to go to dinner. Like, you know what I mean? Like, to have the shit hours, to have the long day. Like, I was ready and so happy to be there. Like, I can't even. Like, I got that job and I was like, oh my God, they have made a serious mistake. They can't find out till I've shot too much and they can't fire me. So I walked in with very, very low expectations of how I would be treated. And first of all, the more famous you are, this is what I learned because I haven't really worked with super famous people until now. The more famous you are, the later you come in the shoot schedule, and they just sort of keep all your shit to the end so that your shoot time is like 2 weeks. Okay. Whereas the rest of us are there for 2 months, right? So the lower you are on the totem pole, the longer your shoot, because they shoot out as much as they possibly can without the famous people so that they can just swoop in. Well, they're busy. They're famous. They're doing other stuff. Sure. I'm unemployed. So I'm happy to be there. So they swoop in and they shoot all their shit out in like 2 weeks. And then they go off to Cannes or wherever the famous people go. So I had already been there. Mike and I had already been there for like a month before Liev came in. And he came in before Nicole. So Mike and I had, we got to know the crew. Yeah. Like
you had a rapport.
We knew the town. We felt very, very secure everyone was great. Like the crew, the background. I love the background. Oh my God, the background in New England. Oh, they were all actual cops. So they were all like retired cops. So I was constantly at lunch. I was like, okay, so here's my scene. Do I do the whole like police thing? And they're like, oh God, no, don't do that. I was like, okay, glad I asked. They were so helpful.
I bet they have good stories from you now because you were probably very charming and asking them stage business questions.
It was fascinating though, because I did try to do as much research as I could online, and it was baffling because it was like the rules for a Boston cop are different than the rules for a Chatham cop. And I was like, well, that's not right. It's got to be like Massachusetts cops.
Right.
And then I talked to them, and there was a guy from Chatham and a woman from Fall River. And and they were all like, yeah, no, we all have different rules. It's maddening. So, and I was like, oh, Jesus. Okay. Can someone break it down for me? I'll get you an extra cupcake.
This is so cool because we want to talk about the Fall River of it all.
That's my family.
Yeah, we have people from that region. We love the Fall River dialect. So let's talk about the fact that you walked into that room and told the dialect coach, who are your natives? Who are the locals in Fall River? And that like turned them on and then ultimately led to like maybe your mom being the unofficial dialect coach for the cast. Like, how
for
incredible.
Okay, so first of all, Joel was our dialect coach on First Lady, which I had done with Suzanne. That's where I met the director, Suzanne Beer.
Got it. Okay.
So she and I already had a relationship. And I was also, jokey Smurf on that set. Again, happy to be there, making people laugh.
Yeah.
When it was appropriate.
Opposite Viola Davis as Michelle Obama.
Yes, and she was busy and tired, and I, took a little protective role I did it with Rachel too, where I would just be like, do you really need her right now?
That's so
She's
sweet.
sleeping.
Yeah.
Can I help you? So Suzanne knew that we had a really good rapport. So I think that was another reason why I got cast, is because she wanted all these famous rich people, and then she wanted who's that? For the cop. So the Fall River thing. So Joel, I already knew Joel, and Joel is a big theater. He's dialect coach for Come From Away, and
Okay.
I've known him forever. So anyway, so I go up to him on a break at the table read, and I was like, "Hey, who are your locals?" He was like, "What do you mean?" I was like, I don't hear any accents here. I didn't do an accent during the table read, and he's like, "Well, what's the accent?" I said, "Well, my mother's going to be watching this. She's going to be wicked pissed if she doesn't hear any, the nurse wore purple and packed a cat and have it. Yeah, she's going to be wicked pissed." And he was like, "Wait, what?" And I said, "Well, technically, okay, that's Fall River. So that's across the bridge. That's a little more poor." And I was like, "Boston is, but Fall River is Boston." So I was like, "It's different." And he was like, "Interesting." And that was it. And then the rest of the table read happened, and I went home, and I got a text from Joel, and he was like, "How do you feel?" Because the fun part and the terrifying part is that my role, Nikki Henry, is the only one not in the novel. There's a cop called Nikki the Greek, who's an attractive Greek cop, womanizer, and they took that and decided to, put a woman in there. Thank you. And I think that's another reason why the part is so good, is it's really a dude's role.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's exhausting.
Right? There's no messy, I fall in love with Mike Beach and then I worry about my kids. And you know what I mean? There's none of that, because it's really kind of a dude's role.
Did you use the book, the backstory for Nikki the Greek for your character? Or did you just create it fresh?
I read the novel, but I said to them, I was like, "What do you want to do here?" I mean, the fun part is that we could do whatever the fuck we want, but the terrifying part is we can do whatever the fuck we want. So, and I said, "Do you want me to just let you do it? Do you want me to be a part of it? Should we go have a drink? What do you want to do?" And we all sort of decided. Suzanne's very much we'll see it, on the set, we'll see how it works. And I'm like, all right. Because I'm a big improviser too, which is another reason why she likes me. So, she's like, "You make up, just improvise if we don't like." And I was like, "Well, writer strike coming, TikTok, better shoot my shit out." But so I went up to him and he sent me a text and he was like, "How do you feel about doing Fall River?" And I said, "Here's the thing, I'll do Fall River because that's where my people are from. And I know that accent backwards and forwards, but you have to put in the script Fall River. Otherwise, people are going to think that I'm doing a shitty Boston accent because they're different. Fall River is much closer to Rhode Island of an accent than Boston is closer to New York." So I was like, "I will do Fall River, but I have to say Fall River somewhere so that people know that I'm not doing a shitty Boston."
So smart. I love these specifics.
Same.
Yeah.
So let's cut to First Lady since you mentioned it. This was this incredible Showtime miniseries where you played Melissa Winter, senior advisor to Michelle Obama, as she's getting ready to go into the White House, goes to the White House. This was this sort of trilogy miniseries. I watched the whole thing on PBS, which is apparently where it's available right now, which is sort of crazy. It's so good. I feel like I was impressed with the overall quality of the entire thing. But did you study, Melissa? Did you work on the affect, the physicality, the mannerisms? How did you approach that work, since you're working with actors portraying living political legends, essentially?
I mean, I scraped together as much as I could.
Yeah.
Photos, video. I learned she was left-handed. I, watch it. I was like, "Whew, glad I caught that," because I did a lot of writing in the show, so I always had to make sure I was using my left hand. I did notice a few physical things that she would do, ways she would sit, ways she would hold her hands, but there wasn't a lot out there of her, and I think that's by design. She doesn't particularly, from what I could tell, like being in the limelight. She likes to, support Michelle Obama and have her be the focal.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then it's more, I think, about the trio of me, Michelle, and Kate. that was sort of the three of us were sort of, and so I felt like I was sort of bobbing and weaving between the two of them, where they were very specific energies, and I sort of bobbed and weaved depending on what was going on, because I felt like Mel, that's probably what she did.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, you know, some things were very specific, left hand and how she holds her phone and how she, you know, I would do this, she would do that, you know.
Yeah.
But a lot of it I left to dancing in between the two tent poles of those divas.
Right. Yeah. You're working with these powerhouses that sort of have these formidable personalities, plain formidable personalities.
Yeah. Can I tell you one of my favorite Viola Davis stories?
Please. Yeah.
Okay. It's my first day. I am literally shitting myself because it's Viola Davis and I'm supposed to be her best friend. And I'm like, what's happening? So the first scene we did was there's this scene where Michelle Obama is meeting her chief of staff before Rahm Emanuel was a woman. And in that, the poor woman who was playing that role, it was during COVID, it was during Delta. So even if you came in for one day, you had to be there for a whole week and quarantine in your hotel room. I mean, it's stressful enough to come in and just do one day.
Yeah.
But to sit there for a week in your hotel room in a different city, like the stress. So anyway, she's supposed to be, you know, Michelle Obama and this chief of staff are supposed to be like this. And this actress, for whatever reason, was not being as antagonistic as Suzanne wanted. Now, Suzanne, one of the reasons why I love Suzanne is Suzanne will come out and say to you, Donna Lynne, I could give you 40 different notes or just tell you to act better. Do you know what I mean? And I love that. I'd be like, I will act better because that was shit. Let me do it again. Do you know what I mean? But some actors don't respond well to that.
Yeah.
You know, and they're like, you know, whereas I think that's hilarious and accurate. And I'm like, yeah, no, that was all shit. Just let's pretend it never happened. Let's do it again. I'm going to act better. So Suzanne came out. I can't remember what she said, but the poor actress got thrown. And I don't know if Suzanne was trying to get the actress angry so that she would be angry in the scene. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
But it was not working. And this poor actress was imploding. And she started to go up on her lines. You could see that she was getting you know.
Yeah.
And she's wonderful. I mean, she is a wonderful actress. She just, you know, it was a bad day. And Viola Davis, you know, one of the worst things that can happen to you as an actor is if you fuck up and then you hear the director go, cut. It's the worst. Because that is a whole train that just stopped because you suck. So you never, ever, ever want that to happen. So Viola Davis, in 8 different ways, she would clock that the actress was struggling and she would say, I'm sorry. I think I gave you the wrong line. Can we look at the script together? And then another time she'd see the actress, you know, whatever. And she'd say, oh my God, I did the wrong. I wasn't happy with that. Can we try again? For me? 8 different ways.
That's so generous. My God.
She saved this actress from Suzanne coming in and upsetting her again, or, you know, and I just was like,
what a pro. And generous.
Generous. And that was my introduction to Viola. So then the next scene that we're shooting is she and I walking down the stairs to go into that meeting that we had just shot.
Yeah.
So she and I are just standing there, and I haven't said really 2 words to her, you know, and I was like, I went, you're a nice lady. And she looked at me, she went, I don't know what you're talking about. And I said, oh, cool. Okay, well, when I fuck up everything, I'm just going to point to you and said it's her fault. And she looked at me, she went, you on your own. She's like, no, girl, you on your own.
Oh my God, I love it.
And now we're friends.
Right. Yes, you charmed her.
And that was it. And then we were, you know, like, you know, friends.
It's incredible. It's really great. I hope people go check it out.
Yeah, she's just amazing.
Okay, so one of the things I love is that you were Pirelli in the 2005 Broadway revival of Sweeney Todd, which you had mentioned. This was with Patti LuPone, Michael Cerveris, John Doyle directed. Everybody had to play their own instruments to create the pit. You played the keyboard, accordion, and flute, I believe.
Yes.
So
I was on stage conductor.
Oh my God. Were you seasoned in any of these things? And if we asked you right now to pick up one of those instruments, which one would you do best?
The piano and the flute. Yeah, I was concert level.
Oh my God. Okay.
Yeah.
Donna
no.
Lynne. Oh my God.
We got to have you lead with this. This is very important.
Yeah. Yeah. And I had like my day job was accompanying for voice lessons and ballet dance classes and stuff.
Cool.
And to the point where my agent told me I had to stop because he was like, I'm getting calls for you to like be a musical director. Like, do you want to establish yourself as an actress or are we going to be a musical director now?
You've got options. This is good.
I know. I was like, shit, can I be both? And he was like, not when you're starting.
Right.
He's like, you have to pick. I was like, oh, crap. So, yeah, piano and flute concert level for sure.
Yeah.
The accordion, I was familiar with, but I'm not going to lie. I learned one piece and woodshed the absolute shit out of it until it seemed like second nature. And Steve was in the room for the final callback, and I knew him. You know,
Right.
I had met him through Hal Prince. And so I'd met him at parties and stuff. So I had a rapport with him. And I said to him at the final callback, I said, I have to be honest. I don't know how to play this instrument. I have learned this one piece really, really well, but I don't know. I couldn't like sight read music on it. Like you couldn't put music in front of me and I'd know what the fuck I was doing. And Steve was like, well, I mean, you sing and that's the bellows. And you play piano and that's the keys. And he said, and the buttons are all the circle of fifths. You know that. And I was like, well, yeah. And he said, you'll be fine. And I forgot that this is the guy who makes like crossword puzzles for fun. And I was like, yeah, I'll be fine. And then I got the score and I thought, how much would I actually be playing accordion?
Right.
Like clearly I don't want to say virtuosic on the piano and the flute, but I'm really damn good. But they'll obviously want me to play those instruments the most. 80% accordion.
Oh my God.
My whole show. I tried to quit 3 days into rehearsal. I went up to John and I was like, hey, man, I don't think this is going to work out. I really don't. I can't do it. And he just looked at me. He laughed and went, oh, you're the first. I said, what? He said, yes, no, I did this in England, you know, we've done it. And I said, yeah, mazel tov. I'm going to have a stroke. I can't, you know. And he was like, no. You're just the first to try to quit.
Oh my God.
Like, he said, I'll make a deal with you. If in the next 3 days, every single other cast member doesn't try to quit, I'll let you quit. And I was like, you're fucking on, dude. And over the next 3 days, I literally saw, like, on a break or at lunch, can I talk to you for a minute?
Patti LuPone and her tuba walking up. My God.
I forgot she played the tuba.
All right, really quick Patti LuPone story.
Yeah.
Who I love. Okay, so we're doing the top of the show. We're doing, you know, the opening into ballad, into Worst Pies, right? And there was a barber and his wife, and she was beautiful. And she had played Love It before. And John's big thing in the room was, does it feel like less like Sweeney Todd yet? And so it's John and Michael, and then the rest of us are the squeezy time band in the back watching. And he says to Patty, he says, all right, Patty, I want you to do it again, but don't sing the notes. Just say the words, you know, in rhythm. She's like, okay. And then, all right, Patty, don't sing the notes. Don't say it in rhythm. Just say the words. You know, okay. All right, Patty, take out the accent. Just say the words as if they were dialogue. Okay. Patty, this time, don't move. He like broke her down. And of course, the rest of us are like, oh, God.
Yeah.
You know, because she has a reputation. And for being passionate, I want to say. Not necessarily difficult. Now that I've worked with her, I don't think she's difficult.
Yeah.
I think she's passionate.
Yeah.
And so we were all like waiting. We knew something was going to happen. And she, I think it's okay I tell this story. I think it's in her book. She burst into tears. Patti LuPone.
Wow.
And John was like, do you want to take a break? She was like, no. She's like, okay, let me just explain what's happening. And we were like, She said, I know that as Patti LuPone, 50% of that audience is going to come to see me do and be the iconic Padalepone with all my Padaleponeisms and all of my
Totally.
Padalepone shit.
Yeah.
The other 50% are wanting to come and see Mrs. Lovett and see me as an actress play a character. So she's like, I know going into this, I am going to disappoint 50% of that audience. And she said, I have decided in this moment, she said, John, it has been decades since I have been treated as an actress. And she said, I want to thank you. And she said, I'm crying because I'm so grateful, but also because I am absolutely terrified because I've just made the decision to create this character from the bottom up. And hopefully those people who want to see the iconic Padalepone will just come with me. And she turned around to all of us and she's like, I need your support. And all of us were like, you got it. You got it. We are here for you. We will help you. And like, even, my job sometimes was, especially during By the Sea, you'll see I've got the flute, but I'm right under her the whole song. And I'm there in case she goes up on lyrics.
Oh my God.
I'm there to make sure she doesn't fall. But, but also I'm there as just, and so my track became sort of her shadow. And I sort of made sure she was okay. She had everything she needed. She because we never left the stage.
Jeez.
And you'll see that my track, I'm always close to her in case she needs me. And that's how that happened from that moment. And I thought, if I ever hear anybody talk shit about Padalepone from this moment onward, I'm gonna let them have it.
Yeah, you saw the real.
Because I've seen the real woman. I've seen the real artist. I've seen a woman who's passionate. And the amazing thing is John let Mike and Patty, he blocked it, but he didn't cement it. And so every time we did the show, those two did it differently. He was like, the lights are here. He was like, go wherever you want, however you feel on the day. Just end up here, you end up there. It was 8 times a week I got to watch those two do whatever they wanted.
Fascinating, yeah.
Depending on their day.
That's very cool.
I mean, it was just outrageous fortune.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Donna Lynne Champlin, we've entered the part of the show we call the rapid fire. It means it's not rapid for you, but for us, it's to get everything else that we need to get out before we send you on your way. So bear with us and our insane energy. It's going to be even more than it already has been.
Fantastic.
You appear in a very famous scene from Alejandro Gonzalez Inarritu's Birdman, where Michael Keaton runs through Times Square in his underwear. What kind of madness was this to orchestrate? And what do you remember from that shoot?
I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, but no one got any permits for that shit.
Oh my God. That's, I had heard that maybe it wasn't, at all. It looks real. It looks real.
Because it is. It was Renegade Saturday night in Times Square. And there were goalposts for Michael to hit, right? So there was me, right? He looked for me and my son, goalpost number 1. Next one is whoever. And we were the hired actors, right? The band and everything. But everybody else in Times Square, just regular people, and he's running through in his underwear.
So great.
So we only did it 3 times. So he, came out, with his robe and he met his goalposts. And, hi, how are you? Blah, blah, blah. Michael Keaton, oh, really? And he figured out where everybody was and we couldn't move, which was hard because, Times Square, people don't know what's going on. And I think we did it 3 times.
Incredible.
That's very cool.
The only reason I know now looking back that there were no permits or anything is because there would have been a cop presence.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? There would have been at least 10 cops somewhere because of the permit.
Yeah. Looks real. Looks real.
It was real.
Okay, Donna Lynne, you are a New York-based actor and have therefore appeared in many shows shot in New York City. Be honest, which of these sets had the best craft services? OG Law & Order, Younger, Law & Order SVU, The Good Wife, The Blacklist, The Good Fight, or the most recent Elspeth?
Oh, okay. You know what I'm going to say? OG Law & Order, only because it was pre-COVID.
That makes total sense.
All craft services, no shade to Crafty.
Yeah.
We love you, Crafty.
Yeah.
But post-COVID, the game has changed.
That's
and
fair.
They are limited in what they can provide and how they provide it.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to say OG Law and Order, also because that was my very first television show, and I couldn't believe that Crafty existed.
Right. So cool.
Like literally, they were like, "Do you want anything from Crafty?" I was like, "There are words coming out of your mouth, but I don't understand any of them. What's Crafty?" They were like, "It's food." I was like, "You provide food."
Right. I'll take it.
Oh my God. It was like Nirvana.
Quick follow-up. Who do we have to harass to get you on the Gilded Age?
I must spill some tea. I have auditioned for that show 5 times.
What the fuck?
Yeah. To the point where my last, and I love all of them.
Yeah, of course.
It's Bernard Telsey casting, who I love.
Right.
This director, who I've gotten to know over the last 5 auditions. I think he's wonderful, to the point where the last time I auditioned, I think I auditioned for The Fortune Teller. That was the last one I auditioned for. I said to him, I was like, "Well, I'll see you at the next callback for the next part that you hire me for, because I won't get this." Okay, bye. Like totally friendly, and he laughed, and I was like, "Yeah, they're not going to hire me,
bastards."
Yeah, and I still want to work on it because all my buddies are on it.
Of course,
Totally.
of course.
All my buddies are on it. But it's funny though, because when I don't get the part, a buddy gets it. And so like I'm not really upset because I'm so excited for my buddy. And I'm like, well, yeah, of course they're perfect. Of course they're perfect at that.
We're
They're
willing
wonderful.
it for the new season. It's going to happen for the new season.
It's going to happen.
Yeah, I've auditioned for 5 roles. I won't say which ones, because a buddy of mine is playing it and being fucking brilliant. So, good on them. But yeah, I just hasn't found the right bit for me, I guess. It's not for lack of trying, I'll tell you that.
Okay. Good.
Yeah.
Good. It's their problem.
Bless their hearts.
Okay, Donna, you star as Mrs. Vita in Karen Main's 2019 indie coming-of-age film, Yes, God, Yes. I just love this film about a young woman discovering her sexuality while at a Catholic high school in the early aughts. I feel like as a former Catholic school kid who was taught masturbation as a sin, I just knew these characters. So
yeah, me too.
I don't know, did you channel anybody to play the mean principal? Because you literally your character takes away Alice's duties as gift bearer after a rumor spreads that she tossed salads, which again is just such stupid late 90s, early 2000s people discovering the internet and discovering shit like that. It was, yeah. Did you channel anyone mean for this role?
Well, it's so funny because I don't think she's mean. It's so funny. You said she's mean. I was like, what? No. No, I just think she's trying to be the most effective in getting a kid to change their behavior. And she knows that usually fear works.
Yeah.
But I think on the inside, she's rooting for all of them, but she will scare the living shit out of them. She has to get them on the path towards Jesus. I mean, I grew up Catholic, so I feel like sort of an amalgamation of my mom on a bad day. Just imagine the phone call where I told her I had a song where I said the word penis 50 times. She was like, "Oh no, should I not watch that episode?" And I said, "Well, we're going to rehearse it. I'll send you a video of the rehearsal and you make your own decision. I don't think you should watch it, Ma. I don't think you're going to like it." She loved it, by the way. I thought it was funny.
Yeah.
So I grew up in that world. I went to Sunday school.
Yeah.
I had religion class. I was the kid who always got punished and kicked out because I asked questions.
Mm-hmm.
My mom was always picking me up why can't you keep your mouth shut? So yeah, I think it was mostly my religion teachers.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I grew up in that world. So what I loved about that movie was that it was gray. You know what I mean? It wasn't black or white.
Totally.
The church is bad. The kids are bad. The kids are good. The church is good. It was so gray. And I just thought, yeah, it's gray.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love that script.
Yeah, I think it's really great. I thought it was a great first feature, and I thought it was a very sweet and small and relatable story.
Yeah.
Okay, Donna Lynne, you made your Broadway debut in this production of James Joyce's The Dead. Years ago, Alice Ripley told me that Christopher Walken kept pickles and pickled okra and onions in his pockets of his costume during the run, and that he used to turn around and pop them into his mouth during the show, even though I think it was in at least 3/4 round. We asked Faith Prince this same question. So Donna Lynne, confirm or deny, is this true about Christopher Walken?
Okay. I don't know about that because I was an understudy for most of my run. And then I got bumped up to main cast halfway through. Again, Emily Skinner.
Yeah, love her.
Went left. She was playing Mary Jane. She left to do Full Monty. And she was like, just have Donna Lynne do it. So this is what I do know about Chris is he, in between shows, would have kimchi, which is pickled stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And he would, bless him, put it in the microwave. Green room was not that big, y'all. You would just smell kimchi on a 2-show day. It's just the whole theater just...
It feels like this corroborates, like the pickled okra. You know what I mean?
What I remember is in between shows, he wouldn't go out. He would have his Tupperware of kimchi and he would put it in the microwave. And we would all be like, please, Chris, no, don't go. Oh, father.
He was worried about his gut health. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He has a microbiome thing that he's trying to correct.
Yeah. He has a wicked sense of humor, though. And he was very kind to me when I went on. I went on for Alice, I think twice. I went on for Emily quite a few times. And then I took over. And he was always so cool with me. Like I never felt like he treated me like the understudy. He was very cool. And... We used to have dares, he and I. This is one of my favorite Chris. He didn't talk a lot. And besides being the only member of the cast who didn't bother to do an Irish accent, to which he was like, everyone knows it's me. I do a terrible Chris. Why would I do an accent? And we were like, Ireland? Irish? And he was like, nah. And he was right. No one gave a shit. No one gave a rat's ass that he was the only one up there without an Irish accent. So he never really spoke, but he would sit in between shows in the green room and listen. Another observer, by the way. And then we were talking about crazy fans or something, stalking or whatever. And all of a sudden he pipes up and it's like E.F. Hutton, everyone is like, because he never really talked a lot. And he said, yeah, so I was doing the show and this guy was always at the stage door. And so, after a couple weeks, I invited him to my home. We're like, whoa, wait, what? like you do, right? Just invite random strangers into your home. We were like, yeah. And so we had a bottle of wine. And then I said, okay, it's time for you to go. And he said, can I use your bathroom? And I said, sure. And he left and I went into the bathroom and he had pissed all over the bathroom like a dog. And that's it. He didn't say anything else for the rest of the day. And we're all sitting there like, there's so many things to unpack, but I think he's done talking. That's it. I think that's
he hit his quota for the week.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. But he was incredibly kind, though.
Yeah.
An incredibly kind man. And I am not one of those understudies that goes and does the same thing that my person does, unless it's been explained to me that I absolutely must, keep the train going. But in a play like that, the director was like, yeah, you want to do something different, just do the right blocking and say the right lines. But, and so I did a scene, I think I went on for Alice, and I did a scene where I just felt like she was a little more angry than Alice usually played it, but I hadn't warned him. And so I did the scene and I kind of yelled at him, and the look on his face, like he looked at me and I thought, oh, fuck. Chris Walken's going to kill me in front of all these people. I forgot to warn him that I'm going to do it different. And then he, as a great actor, came back at me angry. And I nearly shat myself. Like I thought, oh, well, I'm fired. I'm fired. And so in a quiet moment, and I'm terrified now. I'm shaking. I'm on stage just trying to get through the rest of my track. And I'm sitting down. He comes up to me because it was a party, He came up to me and he went, good job, kid. And kept walking. And I was like, oh, thank God. Oh, thank God. He was just being a really great actor.
That's sweet.
I mean, that was so sweet. Like that he was paying attention enough to me to see that I was scared, that the person was angry with me. And no, he was just acting. And I just thought, what a kind thing to do.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Okay, Donna Lynne, last question.
Okay.
You appear in the 2020 dance film Feel the Beat, where you play a dance instructor. What is one great dance break in musical theater that you'd like to do in your career? Turkey lurkey.
No.
Bottle dance.
No.
Music in the mirror.
Oh my God. You know what? Choreography I am obsessed with? Will Rogers Follies and the tambourine.
Oh.
Do you know what I'm talking about? The
I don't.
bump, 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 bump,
Oh,
bump, bump,
yes,
bump,
yes,
bump,
yes,
bump.
yes.
Of course, my ensemble member heart. You know, I just remember seeing it, and it's the first time that like choreography like blew my mind. I think I probably saw it, you know, on the Tonys.
Yeah.
Growing up in Rochester, but I just remember thinking, oh, that is like the epitome of Broadway.
Yes.
So I would love to just, you know,
Put it in the club act.
get in on that. How sad would it be to do it by yourself?
That's the charm. That's the
Just
charm.
sit in a chair and like hit imaginary knees and hands. I have friends. I definitely have friends.
Donna Lynne Champlin, thank you so much for joining us on the show today. This has been such a delight.
Oh, I had so much fun. Thank you you did so much research. I'm so impressed.
Folks, if you were worried, the dental work went just fine. I'm so sorry to be extra lispy for you in that particular episode, but what a thrill it was to talk to Donna Lynne Champlin. She was just an absolute delight, and I want to shout out her solo show, Finishing the Hat. We had so much fun like looking it up, and I remember we were like, you need to do another like one woman show, because remember we found, actually it was not, I don't think it was in her solo show, but we found her rendition of The Air Is Free, which was like from another, like a song cycle that she worked on with Hal Prince. And it was like a show about, was it about like a person who traveled
In a hot air balloon?
No, it's like they used balloons to lift their like lawn chair or something. It's like based on a real story. And I was just like, so the song is wonderful. We will link it out. And also she is just like, she is a great actor and a great singer. And also I just love anyone who finds film and TV success, but keeps them like their home base in New York City. I know that it's like, that's not always easy or like easy for your career or easy on your body or wallet, but I really do love, we love a New Yorker.
And I have to say, as someone who has many close friends from the Massachusetts area, knowing about Donna Lynne's dialect work related to Fall River on The Perfect Couple was so charming. The Fall River accent is so beautiful and so specific. And I love any chance to talk to anybody about Fall River. So Donna Lynne, thanks for being on the show. We hope you enjoyed this episode of You Might Know Her From. If you enjoy what you hear, the best way that you can support us is to go find us on Patreon. This show is self-produced by Damian Bellino and Ann Rodeman. That's us. Our company is called Duck You Dragon, babe. If you want to support us on the Patreon, that helps keep You Might Know Her From chugging right along. Also, please leave us a 5-star review wherever you listen to podcasts. That helps too.
All that music you hear underscoring each and every episode of You Might Know Her From is by Gang. Gang is 3/4 women. Gang is from Philadelphia. We love Gang. You can download and stream their music wherever you listen to your bops.
And if you want to see that clip of Donna Lynne singing The Air Is Free, it's going to be in the show notes. I archive every single thing we talk about on the show right beneath the episode description. So click in, watch, and just delight in the treasures that await. So you were asking about bodies earlier, and I just want to report that 2 of my dear friends that I'm on a group chat with, we talk about body pain all the time. And I thought it was a 3-way thing that we all felt as, early 40-somethings. Then I find out that one of those friends reported that the other friend has 0 body pain, has never experienced any body discomfort, doesn't have any like aches, pains, any sort of like fascia release issues, no sinusitis, no Achilles issues, no plantar fasciitis, no tight muscles, no lower back pain.
Digestion issues?
Nothing. And I go, how is that possible? Like, what a beautiful thing that would be. And look, I'm happy and healthy and I'm doing fine. But do I have aches and pains? Sure. And with each passing year, I go, I gotta get on this. I gotta take care of this shit because it just gets worse. But I need to know what she's doing to have 0 body pain.
Babe, please get in our DMs. Let us know.